Yeah, so Dr. Popper MD, this is kind of, I don't know if I fully said it or not, but yeah, my therapist says that drugs or cannabis alone doesn't necessarily work for everyone. It needs to be a combination of therapy and drugs usually. Yeah, I might not have fully said that thought, but that's what I was trying to get to, is that often it's a combination of therapy and drugs, whether that be cannabis or prescribed depression medication or whatever, but it's usually a combination of approaches. Unless you have a pure chemical imbalance, in which case a simple chemical can do a lot to just fix it all. But that is got to be such a rare case. Generally speaking, it's a combination. If we could find a way to keep a constant at the perfect triple point, it's basically self-renewing. I think it would exist in a new state, Metallica. I feel like a perfect triple point would be a new state of matter. Plasma, maybe? I don't know. Okay, next from Epic. Take all the meds. Oh, yeah. Chat. It's med o'clock. It's your reminder, chat. Now that we're talking about meds, take your meds, chat. And if you're taking your meds, take your vitamins, chat. If you're taking your meds and your vitamins, have some water. Hydrate yourselves, chat. It's a long day. Have a glass of water. Triple point is weird, right? The triple point is fucking weird, right, Random Ray? Okay. Epic asks, are you enjoying getting to flex your intellectual muscle and share science knowledge with the world? I am actually really enjoying talking about this, thinking about this. This is a really fun stream for me. Sorry, chat, just trying to get my blood sugar back up a little bit. What do you think is the mechanism that causes blindness when one practices onanism? What the fuck is onanism? Onanism. Oh my god, masturbation? What do I think causes blindness when one practices masturbation? Sin. Sin. God blinds you because of your sin. Aiming the wrong way? My God. All right. What are your thoughts on hallucinogenic mushrooms and the fact that they're legal in some counties? I think, yep. I believe Oregon was the first to legalize it or decriminalize. I often forget the difference between those. And then I think another county also legalized. Denver? No, we were Denver. What? Denver was the first? Okay. don't wanna have that taken from you. I think that there's a huge amount of potential in hallucinogenic mushrooms and psilocybin. But I think so. Cannabis is a very mild psychotropic compound, right? Such that you don't need a trip sitter, you don't need help, you don't need assistance, there's no danger, there's no nothing, you're fine. However, mushrooms have an actual hallucinogenic compound to them. Like they actually have a hallucinogenic effect, and they have a much more profound psychological impact on you. So with that being said, I think you need not just wanton legalization of hallucinogenic mushrooms. I think they need to be a little bit administered. They're more of like a medication, right? Hallucinogenic mushrooms are more of like a medication than cannabis. Cannabis can be just for fun. Hallucinogenic mushrooms are more of like a medical compound. And so I think it's great that they're becoming legalized. I think it's great that we're going to be able to do work on them, but I think they need to be done in a little bit more of a hands-on kind of way than cannabis is. Mushrooms have more capability to be dangerous. Yeah, like you can really get fucked up on mushrooms. Like you can get really fucked up on mushrooms. You know, like what is it? There's with a certain level of mushroom, you can experience ego death, right? And ego death in the presence of someone who's not a good trip sitter can be almost like an imprinting of ego upon yours. And that's a dangerous situation. You can get psychologically fucked up from that. So just a little bit more thought and care. I think it's super cool. The most amazing thing that I heard about hallucinogenic mushrooms, and I believe the reason that they were legalized in Denver at first were to help people who were on their deathbed kind of thing. Basically, they were in, what's that called? Palliative care, when they're basically just waiting to die. And because some people really don't want to die. I think it's like 1 in 10 or 1 in 12 people. Hospice. 1 in 12 people in hospice do not want to die. They do not accept that death is coming. They're terrified. They're really going through a very bad time because death is coming. The psilocybin mushroom trips, properly guided mushroom trips, make them at peace and happy, and for up to 6 months, they're not afraid of death. They're not high and fucked up, but they experience something that completely changes their outlook, and they're no longer scared anymore. And I was like, holy fuck. If I'm one of those people that is terrified of death, if I'm laying on my bed and I'm terrified of death, I want to have a mushroom trip so that I'm not scared of death anymore, man. That sounds amazing, to go into it without your heart full of fear, man. So, yeah. So anyways, I thought that was super cool. I thought that was a really, really, really amazing, powerful use of hallucinogenic mushrooms. Next question. So have you heard anything about how ADHD may be connected to low dopamine receptivity, which would both be why it's hard to pay attention to non-engaging tasks or subjects, and also why amphetamines help moderate it because it increases dopamine production reception? You know, the serpent, I actually know very little about ADHD. I also get my neurotransmitters mixed up a lot, dopamine and serotonin and all that stuff. So I honestly, that you could be right, but I honestly don't know enough about ADHD to talk about it. I wish I had more information on that, because it's so common. It's so prevalent, right? ADHD is such a huge part of the world right now, and I have to wonder why. What is causing what's causing so many people to struggle with forms of ADHD? Because it fucking sucks, man. Oh my God, Zynos, I'm seeing this. There's more and more people coming up that are really fucked up from ayahuasca and stuff like that. Really needs proper guidance, quality, and dosage. Yes. Ayahuasca, I think ayahuasca is probably going to be a massive spiritual awakening when ayahuasca is a little bit more better. But holy fuck, ayahuasca is not shit that you fuck around with, man. That'll really legitimately fuck you up, and you can't just fuck around with that. It needs a lot of proper control. It's really scary. Some of the stories I've heard of people fucking up with ayahuasca because it's so powerful. Some people turn their entire life around for the better with ayahuasca. Some people are totally fucked up. Okay, next question. People who glorify DMT really piss me off. You know what, Full Metal? So here's the thing. I know exactly what you're saying, Full Metal, and that the when people are like, DMT, it's so amazing, it'll change everything for the better, it's amazing, there's nothing wrong, and it's all good, and we all need to do DMT. That comes from a place where somebody had a quality of life of a certain type, and after a very positive experience with DMT, they have become like dogmatically like a huge proponent. They're like, this made my whole life worth living and so much better. And they see all these people who have problems that they see and sympathize with, and they're like, it can help you, it did so much good for me. But unfortunately, it comes from an individual perspective. So a lot of people who are huge supporters of DMT, and they say, it's got no wrong things, it's all good, it's all amazing, it's because that was the way for them. And they're so much better and so much happier now that they want that for other people. And it's damaging, even though the potential is there for good. So it often comes from a place of goodness and wholesomeness and a love of other people, but it comes across as a crazy fucking drug nut. So it can really, it's varies from person to person. Thick Nasty. You have a 5-gallon water jug and a 3-gallon water jug. How do you fill the 5-gallon jug with exactly 4 gallons? Also, how long do you think it would take Milton to figure it out? You have the 5-gallon water jug. You fill it all the way up. You drink 1 gallon, 4 gallons. Boom. Milton can figure that out just as quick as me, though. We're both very smart. Drink a gallon? Yeah, drink a gallon. No problem. Okay. Round Tupperware lid. In school, I learned that the tongue is separated in its sweet/salty, etc. abilities. But how do you taste? Yes, I can taste sweet, but how do I taste banana? In that question, how does smell help tasting? For example, when having a stuffed nose can't taste foods, this has been haunting me. Complicated question. Tasting taste is lighting up certain areas of the brain, right? Your brain gets lit up and it puts together a message and says, blah, flavor. So I think probably, and again, this is me just kind of taking what I know and think and understand and trying to answer the question. I don't have a solid answer for you, but I bet that it is because the smell is part of the overall brain signal that says blah, flavor, that when you cut out the smell, the message isn't complete in your brain. I bet you that's part of it. And yeah, a couple of people have said that, different parts of the tongue taste different things, and apparently that's been disproven or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. Either way, I think it has more to do with the overall brain message that says blah, flavor, and smell is part of that overall brain message, if I had to guess which that is. Are you wearing a lab coat? I am wearing a lab coat. Yes, I am a science man. The Serpent says, also not really a science question, but have you ever looked at What If by Randall Munro of XKCD? He's answered more than a few weird questions regarding science and physics, including what would happen if someone pitched a baseball at 0.9 c speed of light, or one of my favorites, how close would you need to be to a supernova to get a lethal dosage of neutrino radiation? I have not read that. That sounds amazing. Those sound like very fun questions. Pitched a baseball at 0.9 c. But wouldn't it just be a baseball going very, very fast? Tasting stuff is weird because we're really tasting with our brain, and tongue is just a messenger. Yeah, exactly, right? The tongue is just one source of input, right? It's like if you think of your tongue as a whole bunch of nerve endings, they're just getting lit up on different things. They send the message to the brain. The brain takes all this shit and says, oh, banana. Oh, banana. I see, banana. Luke the Third says, a lot of things happening very quickly and would look like a nuclear explosion. That's fucking amazing. Really? It's fucking cool. It's like tools to translate the world to us in a functional way. Yeah, basically. I mean, it's kind of tough, right? So basically, the tongue and stuff sends messages. Our brain puts messages together, and then, you know, the self or whatever says, oh, that's banana. Now, where the fuck is the differentiation between collection of information being now a single solid message, and the thing looking at that and saying, oh, banana? I don't know, but that's basically. Do you cry when cutting onions? Yeah, because there's a lacrimator in there. Luke the Third says, so I experienced this as a child living in Alaska. Both my dad and I looked up at the night sky with the stars. We then saw a star move across the night sky, stop, pull a Z zigzag pattern, and then move again in a manner that made it fade away into the sky. I'm not bullshitting, and I remember this to this day over 30 years later. Can you discredit this as something I haven't thought of? I thought maybe a satellite, but as far as I know, satellites don't move like that, and it moved fast. I mean, there's a million explanations. One, aliens. Two, light. Light can bounce off clouds. Like, what if it was a star moving, passed by a cloud, reflected the light sideways, then you saw it pass the way past the cloud? I don't know. There's so many things. Could be an artifact of your eye. Could be two different things happening close to each other that your brain just congealed into a singular event. There's so many things that could be the explanation. Hard to say. Could be UFO, could be aliens, might not be. Can you explain the science why I sprained my ankle trying to get soup? Because you were getting soup, Bacon. Because you were getting soup. Don't get fucking soup. Soup's not food. That was God punishing you for getting soup, Bacon. Come on now. Okay. Rylobite has a question. There's a neat article in Scientific American on this. Google, do we live in a simulation? Chances are about 50-50. Very interesting. I'll put that up. Cool. I've got that pulled up. I'll check that out after stream. Hopefully, if I've got time. I'm so fucking busy. Oh my god. Okay. Next. Frickin' Kyle. What is your favorite or most interesting scientific fact? What a fantastic question. Favorite scientific fact. Favorite scientific fact. I mean, it might be the one that I was talking about earlier, where you take a half gallon of hydrochloric acid, a half gallon of sodium hydroxide, and when you mix these two half gallons together, you get more than a gallon at the other side. I don't know. That was kind of the coolest thing. When I was just getting into science. It's super basic and super simple. But I don't know. I think I like that because it was the big kind of awakening moment where I was like, I fucking love science. I wish I'd done more chemistry, man. Wish I'd done more chemistry. Okay, Silent One says, since we know quantum mechanics exist and general relativity says it can't, what do you think will happen to current physics when we figure out the quantum world? Oh, I think Silent One, I think we're basically going to be abandoning most of our current scientific beliefs. It was philosophy of science was the other one I took. I took philosophy of mind, the ethics of war, violence, and terrorism, and philosophy of science. That was the other one that I took. And there was this really interesting talk about the paradigms of science that we live in and how you create a certain set of rules that explain the universe, and eventually that paradigm grows and grows and becomes refined, and eventually you have a paradigm shift where you abandon the paradigm altogether and you move on to a new system. And I think there's been 4 paradigm shifts in science so far, and I think when we figure out the quantum world and gravity and all that shit, I think it's going to be a paradigm shift where we basically abandon most of the stuff that we used to know. I think that, one example, one of the early paradigms was that everything is made of water. Everything is just water in different states. My hand is water. This muffin is water. This coffee carrier is made of water, just in different states. And the way that they kind of came up with this theory was that they looked up on a mountain and they saw fossils of giant underwater snails and seashells and stuff like that up on the mountains. And they said, oh, I know, that's just because the mountain used to be water, or the mountain used to be liquid water. Now it's solid water, and some of the creatures were caught in it, kind of thing. And what they thought, with the tide coming in and out, was the sand turning back into the liquid water state. It wasn't tide rolling in, it was sand turning back into water and then turning back into sand. They eventually had to abandon that when there was no expanding on this theory that everything was water to accommodate more observations in the world. They had to abandon the paradigm that the world was made of water. That had to be its own separate thing. You can go in, you can enter back into that paradigm where the universe is made of water, but you will fail to explain many things. But you can explain lots of other things that are wrong, but whatever. That's an example of a paradigm shift where they believed that for a long time and then they had to abandon it. And I think that's what's going to happen when we get the next paradigm shift. If everything is water, does that mean I can breathe underwater? Am I Aquaman? If you live in that paradigm, you'll probably die, though. Would you and Milty ever consider starting a cannabis business together? Double scientists could be Tex Pog? I don't think we know enough. I don't think me and Milton know enough. I know a lot about cannabis. I don't think I know enough to start the kind of business that I'd want to start. I know more than a lot of other cannabis industry people who are in the business know, but I don't think I know enough to meet my own requirements that I would set. The bar would be, I would set the bar too high for myself to come over it. It's a super cool idea, but I don't think I'd be good enough. Gadnar, I'm of the opinion that we are at our evolutionary cap. If evolution were to happen, it would be seen as an aberration and try to fix it. Gadnar, I think that might just be perhaps a slight misunderstanding of evolution. So evolution happens on like the hundreds and thousands of years scale, right? We would never have one thing and say, oh, this is now evolution. It would be 2,000 years from now, we notice that humans can hold their breath for an average of 2 minutes longer than they used to be able to. That'd be an evolutionary change. Or we'd notice that, what's another example? Basically, it would just be that we would notice in retrospect. When we looked back, we'd notice how different we were than we were 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, and that would be the evolution that we observed. It wouldn't be wouldn't be like it wouldn't be an X-Men thing necessarily. The way human body temperature has gone down a degree, yeah, that would be that's evolution, right? Evolution never stops. Evolution is also not always forwards, right? Evolution can be whatever direction it's going in at the time. We have a giant apocalypse, and then we all revert to being cavemen because that's the best way to survive in the world. Graham Carroll with the science question says anatomy. I mean, the leg bone's connected to the shoulder bone's connected to the brain bone. I'm not good with anatomy. Ever seen the movie Evolution? Fantastic flick. I feel like I saw that. MJ Inc. with the science question. Why the fuck do we need to sleep? How do we defeat the sleep monsters forever and be the most productive beings in the world? You know, MJ, I was thinking about this exact same thing. Because like giraffes sleep for like 12 minutes or half an hour or something like that. That's all the sleep a giraffe needs. And then it's active for 23 and a half hours a day. I was like, what the fuck? Why do they get that? Now, part of that is because they're a prey item. The ones that slept more got eaten, and the evolutionary pressure was for them to sleep less and less and less and need less sleep. Unfortunately, we don't have the same kind of strong pressures to sleep less. And so we don't need to sleep less. We need people to prey on us. We kind of need people to prey on us. And so I don't understand why we need so much sleep. I would love if we didn't need it. I would love if we could just not need sleep anymore. That would make me very happy. We need more fire under our asses. Basically, yeah. They're called serial killers. Oh my God. Are you suggesting DBD IRL? Maybe I am. He's sleeping 4-hour spurts? Yeah, I heard that, which is interesting and weird. I don't want to be hunted. Well, that's kind of the goal, right? You don't want to be hunted, so you don't sleep, and then, you know, the people that sleep less survive better. Is the entity taking over your brain? I'm just saying we need DBD IRL. We just need that. Is being a biology major worth it? I have interest in other fields as well, but my gut has always said go with biology because it encompasses most of my scholarly interests. This is a tough question, Dynamorph. This is a tough question. I want to say no, it's not worth it. Because I have found there are more. It depends on what you want to do. If you're okay with working out in the field and doing a lot of manual labor and a lot of surveying and filling out charts, biology degree will take you pretty far. But there's not a lot of cool work in biology, to be honest, unless you specify in something weird like biochemistry or I don't know. Biology's tough, man. Biology's tough. I was done the great disservice of being told to not go into chemistry by my chemistry teacher. And had I ignored her and gone into chemistry, I think I would have had a happier career. So it's tough. I don't want to give advice too much because I felt like I was done a massive disservice with being pushed away from chemistry, which I think I would have loved because I ended up working my whole life in chemistry anyways. But I don't know. Biology has not provided me with a ton of really cool opportunities, sadly. You know what I mean? Geology is super cool. Oh, biology is super cool, but there's not a lot of good job opportunities, man. Not a lot of good job opportunities in biology. My whole life. Well, I meant like up till now. Who cares about jobs? We need jobs. Till Dickhead in Chemistry corrected your math with a wrong answer. That's true. That's true. Unethical says, how do I stop Rock from knocking down my door now that he knows how to climb the porch? Omitted, you're just gonna have... There's nothing you can do. You're now the hunted, Omitted. You're now the prey item and Rock is the predator. Jobs can suck a dick. I know. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, that's why I didn't go into philosophy, right? I would have loved to have gone into philosophy, but there were no job opportunities. Not that there's anything wrong with sucking a dick. I know. Jobs would be awesome, man. If jobs sucked dicks, they'd be amazing. Cannon Fodder says, using organic chemistry, expand upon a theoretical explanation for element bending, fire bending, air bending, etc. All right. So I think what you would need to do fire bending is you would need to produce enthalpic reactions in your hands, right? Near a source of fire. And by having the enthalpic reaction in your limbs, being able to create mass enthalpy, the energy of the fire would be drawn to your hands, modulate it to come near you, bend it, move it, release enthalpy, fire just goes. So that's how you do the fire bending. Air bending, you know what, it would be, air bending would be different because you need both the endothermic and the exothermic reactions to maneuver wind, right? Cold wind rushes, hot air blows, and so by manipulating temperatures, you could move the wind around. Let's see, earth bending. Boy, earth bending's a tough one. You'd need magnetism. If I shout really loud, is that air bending? That would get it started. I think earth bending, yeah, magnets. You need some magnetism. You need some you'd need non-electromagnetic magnetism that worked like electromagnetism for elements of your choice. That's what you'd need. And then for water bending, boy, water bending's a tough one, huh? Boy, that's a tough one. Oh God, I don't know how you do the water bending. Water magnets. You need water magnets. Water's defined. Yeah, I don't know how you'd bend water. That'd be a tough one, man. Skyrunner, thank you for the 4 months. Just spit everywhere. There you go. And Metallica with $5. What are your feelings about the lab in Seoul, South Korea, trying to clone a full woolly mammoth from frozen DNA collected from hair frozen skin samples? Are we on the verge of a real Jurassic Park? How long do you feel it would take for them to perfect it? I mean, honestly, I should know more about the cloning thing because I literally have my degree in genetics. I think it's possible. How long would it take? Probably like 50 years or so. Yeah, probably like 50 years or more. But I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I read some recent articles that says Jurassic Park is literally impossible. I disagree. I think it's possible. And fuck you, scientists. Just try harder. Stupid scientists giving up. It's not as quite possible, right? It's fucking possible. Get your ass in gear, scientists. Don't just fucking give up because it's hard. Grandma Cannibal says, is a hot dog a sandwich? I guess technically it has to be, huh? It's got shit in between some buns and some stuff in there. I think it's a fucking sandwich. No, it's not. I think it is. I feel like it's a sandwich. Hot dog is a taco. Is a taco not just a very hard sandwich? It's a hoagie, which is a type of sandwich. Tacos can be soft, then it's a soft sandwich. You're a hoagie? How dare you? How dare you? Is a ravioli a sandwich? Yeah. It's a soft, wet, small sandwich that you eat with many other sandwiches. I gotta eat a snack, chat. Hoagies are good. Take the compliment. Good point. I will take that compliment. Okay. All right. We're charging up. Thank you, Wonder Boy. Okay. Clover Candy has a question. I have a sleep disorder that I have come to terms with. I know there most likely will not be a cure or effective treatment in my lifetime. So I participate in clinical trials to help everyone who will come after me. Do you think we'll ever have a good grasp on medical issues, or do you think people, viruses, etc., as a whole will continue to evolve and medicine will always have to play catch up? It's always going to be an arms race, Clover Candy. It's kind of the nature of the universe and reality that nature is trying to kill you. At every given turn, nature has a single goal, and that is to kill you. And so by that very token, we are always going to be competing with nature. It will always evolve a workaround to any solution we come up with. So unfortunately, it's always going to be catch up, because even if we solve everything, nature will find a new way to kill us in a way that we don't understand. And then we need to try to catch up to figure it out, because nature is always going to try to kill us. Nature's trying to kill you and also trying not to be killed. Yes, exactly. Why are we trying to save it? I mean, honestly, we are part of nature, right? And so we cannot escape it because we are it. Thanks for answering. If I was a giraffe, I'd be the first to go. I sleep 12 hours a day regularly. Yeah, it's tough. It's so tough when we have these problems where We don't have solutions for them yet, and we will in the future, but unfortunately, that doesn't help us now. It helps the people in the future. But unfortunately, the people in the future who don't have this problem because it's solved will have a new problem that we don't even know about. So, it is a perpetual arms race. We will try to evolve solutions just as they more quickly try to evolve workarounds. If humans don't like other humans, can you really blame nature for not liking us either? Good point, Giggle Bunny. Exactly. So if we solve nothing, we die super fast. Yes, exactly, Keocorn. We have to continue to solve problems, because if we leave it, then it'll just kill us that much quicker. That's why I try to do clinical studies. I don't want others to go through the same I have. Thanks again. Hey, no problem, Clover Candy. Sorry you're having a tough time. Thank you for doing clinical trials. That's how we get solutions and stuff. But solving problems is hard. True. Feel the same way with cancer. It's why I don't believe we'll ever see a cure despite being so similar as a species. As humans, we're just so different that the cancer, even the same type, is human dependent. So it's different between each type for human. You know, Metallica, I think we are going to crack the cancer nut. I think we're going to. I heard about this really cool thing inspired by the COVID vaccine. So COVID vaccine, I believe, is an mRNA vaccine, which is really, really cool because potentially you can find. Oh, damn it. I had it thought of the other day where cancerous cells oversend a certain message. Oh, fuck, I can't remember. I thought it was like, if you can create a vaccine for something to do with the oversending of a message, then you don't harm any healthy cells and you do harm the cancerous cells because it's the message that's being sent that causes them to over reproduce. But anyways, I have a lot of hope that I think cancer, the fundamentals of cancer, will be something that can be dealt with eventually. That being said, I think it's just going to be another thing that pops up after that. There's going to be a new cancer after that. When we crack this one, there'll be a new cancer for us. Cyberpsych, thank you for gifting that sub to Tay Fearless. Thank you. Super cancer. Yeah, we'll get super cancer after that. COVID 2. Yeah, so unfortunately, I do think even if we as we cure other things are just going to pop up, right? Would cyborgs get cancer? I mean, ideally no, March Hare, and that's where I'm putting my money on. When I get my cyborg body, oh hey, Metallica, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Holy fuck. Thank you. Damn, that's very, very generous. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's always gonna be something, man. It's always gonna be something. But when I get my cyborg body, I'm gonna request the no cancer model for my cyborg body. I want some cyborg titties. Adjustable cyborg titties. Adjustable cyborg genitalia. That'd be the way to do it. PM Teddy says, if Bill Nye is the science guy, are you Tex Smith's the science bitch? I guess so. Which honestly, you can't be a science guy. You are only ever science's bitch. Okay. Bitter Cup says, what are ways you've been able to apply your career specialty to your everyday life? I would say applying practical safety to warnings and lack thereof. So when something doesn't have a warning, I usually know a little bit of enough of the nature of biology and chemistry to handle it safely. And other times when there are warnings, I understand enough of the science behind it to act appropriately while maybe not following the exact guides of kind of specified safety kind of thing. So just kind of general guide in my everyday life, just a little bit. Pocket with 200 bits. Friendly reminder that planet Earth is a dense molten core encased in a layer of solids, and therefore is technically speaking a ravioli. Discuss. Yeah, it is. Which means it's a sandwich too. It's a big old wet pasta sandwich. I love it. I love this big dumb ravioli we live on. It's more of like a gumball though, right? The chewy center and hard exterior. We're kind of more living on a big old gumball. Everything is wet to you. Everything is wet to me. My hands sweat so much. Everything is wet to me. What scientist from any time period do you look up to and or would like to have a chat with? You know, I actually none. I don't think there's any. Maybe Tesla, just because he seems like a crazy son of a bitch who thought he could crack the world in half with a proper resonance. Basically none. I'm more interested in the science than the scientist. I like the discoveries and the theories more than I like the people. I don't really hold any scientists in high regard themselves. But Tesla seems like a crazy motherfucker, and I'd love to talk to him. Also, maybe steal some of his secrets. Science ethics question. Do you think information obtained unethically, like a lot of the biology info found by the Nazis' torture, should be completely shunned by the scientific community? Or is that a disservice to the sacrifice the people experimented on? Yeah, this is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. I took an ethics of science question. Took an ethics of science course, and the ethics of science course would say that it should be shunned. It is because it was obtained unethically. It is to be ignored, and the disservice would be in rewarding the people who performed the science. So the way to honor the people who sacrifice themselves is to not give the nasty people the benefit of having their work be rewarded. On a personal level, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know. That's such a deep question. That's such a tough question. You never want to reward it. You never want to show people that there is a positive aspect of doing unethical experimenting, because then the people will say, I know I'll be viewed as a villain in history, but I'll push the humankind forward. And you don't want to do that to them. If they know that their unethical, disgusting, torturous testing will amount to nothing because it will be shunned, that they won't do it because it won't amount to anything. How much did we learn from unethical experiments, though? Like, how much did we learn from the Nazi experiments? A lot. We can actually learn a lot. Which is the dangerous thing. You can learn a lot from really, really disgusting, unethical testing. Yeah, we learned a lot, which sucks. It fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. Disgusting, unethical, torturous testing comes to incredible rewards. And if we take those things, then we say it's okay to do this. So it comes down to a personal discussion of, are the lives of X people worth the knowledge gained for X purpose? That's tough. That's tough. But I believe the scientific ethics comes down on the side of shun it all and have it mean nothing, so that it doesn't happen again in the future. Does consent make it ethical? Boy, yeah. Donnie Darko, that's the tough one. Some people say that you can't consent to some of these things. And that's where the gray area comes in. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. Hey, camera? Hey, camera. You okay there? You okay? You're okay. Okay. Have you heard about the people with genetic mutation that when they eat certain types of food, their body turns it into alcohol and they get drunk? Is that real? I know there's some animals that do that. Is there people that do that? Yeah? That's fucking cool. That's neat. Damn. That's super cool. What an interesting mutation. What an absolutely weird mutation. I love that. Super rare, I think. Yeah, I would think that would be super rare. Called auto brewery syndrome. Okay, now I gotta Google that. Auto brew. Oh my God, it fucking filled it in. Auto brewery syndrome is a rare condition that occurs when yeast in the gut produces excessive quantities of ethanol, which can cause symptoms similar to those of being drunk. People who have auto brewery syndrome register abnormally high blood alcohol levels even if they consume no alcohol. Holy fuck. That's the coolest damn thing ever. What the fuck? Holy shit. Eat some bread, get drunk. Where do I pick up this perk, right? Why didn't I get that perk when I was born? Redefining beer belly, super true. Pocketing with 100 bits. Am I the only one that feels like we shouldn't be using animals for testing anymore? Plenty of rapists, pedophiles, and horrible scumbags in prison we should use instead. Maybe that makes me a bad person. Yeah, Pocket Gnome, I think that's getting to kind of some scary territory. I wrote my final paper on animal testing, and I think it is a dangerous, mired, upsetting topic that requires a massive amount of discourse to come at some sort of a conclusion. But it's very tough. It's very tough. It's there's so many things that you're like, you hear and you're like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. Oh shit, I didn't think of that. And you realize just how complex the situation is. Okay, Gooligan. So this is already asked. I missed some of the stream. Could you talk about sleep, for example? Why humans have to lay down, be not standing to sleep? Unless under dire circumstances, extreme exhaustion. Sleep is just intriguing to me. Dude, Gooligan, two things that I think are some of the most interesting to me. I guess three things. Sleep, absolutely a mystery to me. Pain, absolutely a mystery to me. And dreams. I want to know more about that. I have no answers to those questions, unfortunately. I wish I did. It's some of the most interesting stuff to me are these exact questions, but I don't have any answers. Sleep is so fascinating to me. The need for sleep, the function of sleep, all this stuff is super cool, super interesting, and I don't know any of it. If I ever find an answer, I'll tell you. 10,000 Tamaguchi. Not a science question, but I love this stream. First time here. I think I first saw you when the Djibouti boys were doing D&D. Anyways, awesome stream. Hey, thank you so much for the compliment. Welcome to this very weird one-off stream that we're running. This is the first time we've ever done a science stream before. I'm really enjoying it, and I really did enjoy roll it out with the Djibouti boys too. Dreams are just your brain's screensaver. We talked a little bit more about dreams, about how you witness the obliteration of universes and die, and what your concept of is that, and how we're okay with that. But man, dreams are super cool. Can weed trigger underlying mental illness? From Kartuki. This is the question, isn't it? Oh my goodness. This is reefer madness. This is cannabis induced psychosis. This is the question. This is the issue that so many people contend with about weed. And I'm gonna go into this saying that I am one voice, and I am a product of the research that I've done, and I'm not the final authority figure on this. So I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna inform you, but I'm gonna tell you that you should also not take any information right now as the word of law, because there's so much shit out there. This is one of the ones where there are a ton of okay, I hate this song. I hate that song. There is a lot of misinformation on both sides, okay? Both sides of the pro and anti-cannabis have a lot of misinformation about cannabis-induced psychosis. Can weed trigger underlying mental illness? On a chemical level, I do not believe so. I think no. Not from chemicals. The THC and CBD will not induce a chemical cascade that triggers an underlying mental illness. That being said, some mental illnesses and some states of mental illness are at a critical point where an adjustment on the perception of reality can be the tipping point. So depends on your definition of a mental illness. Is the person mentally ill and not having a break yet? In which case, a compound that makes them perhaps paranoid can cause the break in the mental illness that already exists. That is possible. You can have that from alcohol. You can have that from caffeine. You can have whatever. The hallucinogenic portion. There's not a hallucinogenic portion of cannabis. So it's not hallucinogenic. It's more the fact that it's where your mind resides. Okay. And yeah, THC is not a hallucinogen. Exactly. It's not a hallucinogen. It doesn't alter your perception of reality. It alters your where your mind rests, right? It isn't. No, it's not a hallucinogen. No, the entry level hallucinogen is like mushrooms are the first level hallucinogen. But the thing is some people do get a paranoid feeling when they have certain strains of cannabis, and a paranoid feeling on somebody who is already mentally ill, waiting for a mental break, a psychotic episode, can experience a psychotic episode because of the feelings they experienced. So those cases, it appears that cannabis can be the tipping point as something else could have been. Again, it's not the chemical that does it, right? You could get paranoid for any reason, but because it was the cannabis that caused you to be paranoid, it appears that cannabis caused the psychotic break. So it's such a mired and complex situation that in general, no, weed cannot trigger a mental illness. But if it can trigger it can trigger an episode in an existing mental illness. If you understand the difference, right? It exacerbates one on the cusp, right? And on the cusp means like you're not mentally ill and then you are. No, you're already mentally ill. You're already mentally ill, but the episode, yes, it can expose it. Yeah. The episode has not occurred. And then the difference in your current mindset can be what causes the episode kind of thing. Trigger versus a catalyst. Yes! Genghis Chungus, that's exactly it. A trigger versus a catalyst. That's a really good way of looking at it. It's a catalyst. It can be a catalyst, not a trigger. I'm actually going to keep that in my brain. It's more of a catalyst rather than a trigger. So this is something where I read this story a little while where a person smoked one joint and then stabbed their mother to death, and everyone's like, "Oh, he had cannabis-induced psychosis. That's all it was. He had one joint and then he stabbed his mother to death because the cannabis made him go crazy." And I'm like, "Whoa, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on, man? That was underlying issues. What the fuck is this?" Hi, by the way, I'm loving the stream. Pretty new here. Hey, Genghis, I'm glad you're enjoying it. This is a little bit of a one-off stream for us, but I'm super happy to be doing it. Probably already crazy. Yeah. So, anyways, because the police are lazy to investigate it. I know no other reason to look further into it. Yeah, that's just it. So, just for all, this is actually a full lab coat. I got my full lab coat on. It's actually quite hot. He had an undiagnosed mental illness and something triggered it. Maybe the weed, maybe the color yellow. Exactly, Falrod, exactly. So the question of, can weed trigger an underlying illness? The answer is no, in the general way that question is presented. That being said, if you are mentally ill in some way, it is very important to investigate and experience things in controlled, safe settings. So you should always be careful. You should always be aware. Just like if you have an underlying mental illness, you should be careful about caffeine. You should be careful about alcohol. You should be careful about nicotine. You should be careful about so many things. You should always be careful. You never know what it could be. Tech is the next Dr. Horrible. Any stimulants to your body. Exactly, KO Corin. Any stimulants you should be careful of. If you are mentally ill, if there's a potential for an episode, you should be careful of any stimulant.